Don't take no for an answer if you want her.
Dating non-affectionate people is literally a jail sentence. If they say, "Can I get that steak well done?"
Ew.
Yeah, red flag.
Red flag.
Yeah.
I'm a steak well done girl.
No.
No, Katie.
Medium rare.
Hello,
Welcome
Or welcome back.
to the Womanly Podcast.
where we embrace womanhood in its entirety.
From the hard and awkward conversations
To the silly and embarrassing moments.
An effort to reclaim and redefine what it means to be womanly in this crazy, wacky world. I'm Delana, the neutral one.
I'm Katie, the morbid one.
And I'm Madeline, the other one. And we're so excited that you've joined us today because there's room for you at our table.
So, grab your favorite drink and let's have a conversation.
All right, ladies, what are we drinking tonight?
I, per Katie's generosity, finally have the chai drink that we've been trying to
Finally.
get for like the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, it's not the chai. but
It's not the chai.
It is a chai.
It's an acceptable chai
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
in place of it. Yeah. It's still a good chai.
Nice. Well, I had a chai as well, although I've already finished it because it was that good. I've moved on to a Coke.
I'm also drinking a chai. It's delicious.
Yeah, the chais were really good. Today we're talking about dating advice from the internet. It's been fun, guys. Get ready for this one.
It's been quite interesting.
Yeah, it's been fun. We did it a little bit different. I kind of took all my dating advice from social media. I got Twitter, I've got Instagram, I've got TikTok. And then Delana did gossip magazines, correct?
I did. Lifestyle magazines. Yep.
Glamour.
The goods.
Yeah,
Mhm.
good stuff. And Katie?
I did Reddit.
You did Reddit. You did the good one.
I just rummaged through Reddit.
Where do we want to start? We want to start with Reddit?
I'll start.
Dating advice as told by Reddit.
Okay, so my first one, this guy said, I think the worst advice I ever got was the whole don't take no for an answer if you want her. I learned fast that 2 no's are more than enough.
No.
Yeah.
That was 2 no's right there, and I think that was enough.
Uh-huh. I know.
Wow.
That's just bad. I don't
I
have
know.
anything to add to that. That's
Yeah.
just
I don't either.
horrible.
Honestly, that was like the point. I was like, no need for
Nope.
any commentary. That's just
That's a downvoter for sure. You're like,
the worst.
get out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Well, Twitter, we're going to start with the Twitter takes over here. There was a particular tweeter who said that dating non-affectionate people is literally a jail sentence. I took personal offense to this because I'm a very non-affectionate person.
Oh.
It's like, do I put other people and is it like being in
In
prison
jail?
to be around me? Because I'm not an affectionate human being.
Like, if you're not attracted to that type of person, then don't go for that type of person. But don't say you're imprisoned.
I feel like
That's more
There's-
personal preference than it is like
Yeah.
blanket advice.
yeah.
For
that's
sure.
that's somebody like definitely pressing their personal
Desire.
I was gonna
Yes.
say opinion, desire, their
Expectations.
On somebody
expectations
else. Yeah.
onto everyone else.
That's called
welcome
a red
to America.
flag, people.
That is a red flag.
Yeah.
So this one, a lot of these are from Poosh, by the way, because
What?
I had so much fun.
What is poosh?
Poosh, it's Kourtney Kardashian's like lifestyle blog.
Gotcha.
thing.
Perfect.
Because I was like, oh, I'm gonna get so much from Poosh.
Yeah.
Because I just thought it would be fun, and it was. But there was also surprisingly a lot of really good stuff on there.
Yeah?
Yeah. So the first one here is blame is not necessary or helpful in any ways. Use I statements instead and move towards a resolution. Examples they gave was I feel better when we can calmly talk things through. How does that make you feel? Or I feel hurt when we don't talk. Can we work on this?
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many couples who just kind of like get in this, like what they think and perceive in the situation is fact
Yeah,
and not
yeah.
just like their perception of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely have been guilty of that.
Well, I think, too, the whole point of doing I statements is that whenever you're dissatisfied with what's being done or being said, it's more like you're doing this wrong versus this is how I perceive what is happening.
Yeah.
You may not mean for it to come off that way, but that's how I'm perceiving it. And I have I'd like to have a conversation so that maybe we can iron this out and it no longer
Mm-hmm.
transitions or transfers the way that it has been
Yeah.
up to this point. So I
Yeah.
think having I statements, it takes the blame off of
Yeah.
the other person, whether or not you intentionally place it there,
Yeah.
and makes you look internally to see what is it that's making me react.
Yeah. And I think it like turns it from pointing the finger at the other person, and it's more just kind of like I am trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like whether that has to do with you or with me or both, like I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Like,
and
can
I
we
want
be a team and
to
figure this
figure
out?
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
together.
Yeah,
It's like a team effort.
Yeah.
This one's bad.
Oh no.
It's not juicy, but it's like bad advice. Like
Okay.
Give it to us.
one human being on Reddit said, "My dad and his new wife gave me some terrible advice a few months ago. Keep dating him," they said. "Even if you don't like some of the things he says or does, you can change those. Mold him into the man you want."
You can't change men.
Best
You can't
advice I've ever
change
heard.
anyone.
You should marry him to change him.
Yes.
Yes.
If
Because
you can't
walking-
change him, try harder.
And if marrying him doesn't change him, have kids with
Yes,
him.
that's
Yeah.
surely what's gonna make it happen. No. You cannot change somebody, especially if it's like, okay, so if there's like tiny things,
Yeah.
I don't know, like I don't
you
know,
like
they
tacos
leave
and
their
they
socks
don't.
on the carpet or something. That's like I
Yeah.
hear that's a common.
Like
It's annoying.
frustration.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something that you might be able to talk about and change that habit.
Funny story, whenever I was just talking to Sam about this the other day, and I was like, whenever I was thinking about my future husband, I was like genuinely sitting, I remember I would like sit there and think, I'd be like, okay, if my husband doesn't like Zelda, what do I do? Do I stay with him? Like if he really is the love of my life, I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I would need to stay with him because I can't be selfish.
But that's the point of
That
this
was
whole
like
thing.
genuinely like I was like, I need to plan what my decision is gonna be whenever this goes.
it's make it or break it.
I like how the
Zelda
idea
or butt.
Yeah. I like how that is, the way that you framed that was as if you didn't already know once you got married. It was like after you got married that you realized, oh, he doesn't like Zelda. That's whenever
Right.
it becomes an issue.
Yeah, right. I know.
No, that's the whole point of that is that whenever you have a relationship and you act as though like you're going to have non-negotiables, and you should, because it's healthy to have non-negotiables. And if somebody doesn't meet that, sometimes you just have to move on. Sometimes you don't have to
Yeah.
force them to meet your
Mhm.
non-negotiables.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what makes a couple interesting.
Yeah.
Like their different opinions and different
Yes.
things they like and dislike, and
Mhm.
sometimes you learn to like the things the other person likes that you didn't before.
Yep.
Like
Sometimes you don't, and that's okay.
it's an adventure.
This one I thought was kind of interesting. Do not leave dating up to fate. This is also from Poosh. Don't leave it up to a deity or when the time is right. The time is now. If you want to be married, have children, find the love of your life, or experience lust and mutual adoration for your partner, then you need to grab your love life by the nape of the neck and shake it up. And the new year is a perfect time to start. So that was posted at the beginning of this year.
It's kind
Oh.
of violent.
Right?
I
That
like
is
it.
violent.
Very
I like
forceful.
that, though.
Yeah.
The nape of the neck.
Grab it by the nape of the neck.
Makes me uncomfortable, but the
But-
sentiment.
No, I like it.
Do you
because,
agree?
Yes, I do, because I think, especially as women, a lot of times your future spouse is idealized and romanticized, and the whole idea of it
Mhm.
being a fairy tale thing and sweeping you off the feet and stuff, that doesn't happen.
I think that there has to be a little bit of magic. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah.
In order for this is the thing. I'm also a firm believer that like a relationship should not be like primarily based on romantic feelings.
Yes.
I think that is a great perk and that should exist and that should be like fiery in your relationship,
Mhm.
but that it should not be the core of your relationship. Or
that can be secondary.
yeah, it should absolutely be secondary. You should have attraction to the person, but like I feel
It's
like
just a bonus.
Attraction fades.
at
Looks
the
fade.
yeah, and like don't you want to be around somebody that you just like want to be around all the time, like not just
Mhm.
somebody that you're just like attracted to all
Yeah.
but like who is like the person that like you have the most fun with?
Yeah.
You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
That's way better than
It's yeah, the romance comes and it goes and it ebbs and it flows, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But if you
It's a
pick
river.
somebody that you're like, man, like just
I have so much fun with you.
I have so much fun with you. Yeah,
Yeah,
like we
you're my
can do
best friend.
all types of you are genuinely my best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes for such a
It-
fulfilling
yes,
relationship.
Yeah. And I think it takes maturity to recognize that.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
I don't think whenever you're in the height of hormones and all
Yeah,
that that
exactly.
you recognize that that's an important thing, because at that
Yeah.
moment that's not what's important to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But as you mature and you get older, and I don't know, maybe there are teenagers out there that recognize that, and that's, you know, more power to them. But I think
Yeah.
by and far that's just not something that is a priority
Yeah.
when you're younger. But
Yep.
we're all in our late 20s, so we've lived a little life.
Yeah, I just think
Our priorities are different.
Yeah. But also it's like life or love is not an obsession.
Yeah.
Love is like
That's infatuation.
yeah, it's infatuation. Like Twilight is so far from love. That's obsession, and that is so unhealthy. And
Unless we're talking about Billy, because he really did love his daughter.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
sweet,
He did.
so sweet.
Yeah.
That's real love.
That's real love.
It is a father's love.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to go over to the Instagram, to the gram. So what I was finding with social media, this is not going to be a surprise, but surprisingly, Twitter was the worst. It was all jokes, which I wrote down a lot of them because they were really funny. Instagram was better. TikTok was surprisingly really good, although I will say that it was mainly the same advice over and over again on TikTok.
Oh, interesting.
But I'll give some from Instagram. Instagram says that the right person will embrace the things you once felt you had to hide.
Wait, say that again.
The right person will embrace the things you once felt you had to hide.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is
Profound.
I think profound, also difficult.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you have to be willing to stop hiding it.
Yeah. And also some of those ugly sides, like you maybe feel like you're hiding it, but they come out in other ways,
Yeah.
you know? And if we're talking about ugly sides and not just like quirky interests or something like that.
Well, I
you
think
know?
even like your trauma.
Yeah,
like
or
hiding your
traumas.
trauma.
Exactly. Like not sharing
Insecurities.
those things where they come out in other ways and it just kind of leaves your partner feeling like, what is going on here, you know?
Yeah.
But also, yes, it's like willing to be vulnerable and actually share those things and open up about it. But once your partner has been hurt by the ways that you treated them before you were open and vulnerable about it, it can be harder to navigate fully embracing those things,
Yeah.
which is just human, you know?
Well, and I think the way that you just stated that as embracing these things, one of the things for myself is that I have triggers, just with the way that I was raised, the men in my life, the way I was raised, I have certain triggers that I regularly see in my relationship right now, that something will be said or done, or something will be not said or not done. And there is a moment for me where that really hurts me more than it probably should, because of things that I'd experienced in the past. And in my ability to recognize that that's a trigger and that is causing me to react irrationally, because that it's not the same moment I'm reacting with an emotional hurt that lingers and not exactly realistically to what's going on. The more that I recognize that in myself and I'm able to like address that with my partner and say, hey, like I recognize that my reaction to this is not correct. This is what I think it stems from, and I'm just acknowledging that because it's not you.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's not you, it's me kind of thing, but
Right.
kind of along those lines. I think it makes being vulnerable in that moment and kind of talking about those things helps to uncover and make it easier going forward to prevent yourself from reacting that way, or and to make it easier for you to even address those things going forward as they come up.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what, whenever I read that, that's kind of what comes to my mind, is no longer feeling like you have to hide those things, but also learning about them together.
And one of the ways that I feel like it's the most difficult is like, I'll give an example in my own relationship where because of the way that I grew up, like I tend to get, basically my growing up was, it stripped me down to the point of feeling like I had no sense of self, right? And so whenever issues would come up, arguments and things like that, especially if I did something wrong, whenever Sam would come and address me on things, I would get really defensive. And I would often, it hurts me to say, but like I would often like even turn it back on him, you know, and be like, well, you did this wrong. and that's why I responded this way. You know what I'm saying? And make it like completely just deflect, you know?
Yeah.
And it's stuff like that where it's like, that is directly tied to my trauma.
Yep.
But that's really hard for him to also embrace because it's so hurtful to him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's been one of the toughest things for us to navigate. It's gotten a lot better, you know, but it has been a lot of patience and forgiveness on his part, and a lot of me like just being like, okay, you know what, you're right, me like self-reflecting and moving towards him to fix that, because in order for him to embrace it, he first has to forgive me, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And for me on that side of things, similar, but for me, it's more like whenever I'm made to feel, not intentionally, but as if something I'm very passionate about or care a whole lot about, whether it be an opinion or an activity or a hobby or whatever, something I'm really passionate about, if I feel as though somebody is trying to make me feel stupid for that, or trying
like belittling it.
Yeah, belittling it a little bit, or like if I have a really strong opinion on something and they don't have the space to care about it the way that I do, which people don't owe you that, but because different circumstances growing up, I was made to feel really small about certain things and feel as if I was, you know, stupid is the word that comes to mind, just feel stupid for caring about things that way. I still to this day have really serious reactions to that, and it's not so much that like, I mean, I'll get upset. I don't really feel like I say anything hurtful, but I withdraw, and I will withdraw angrily, and at that point he feels like he has to apologize and be like, I'm sorry, I didn't take it seriously. And it's like, you didn't have to. It's just that, you know, for me, whenever something has been said or done that makes me feel a certain way, it kind of throws me back to moments in my childhood that are still for me, very raw.
Yeah.
And kind of what you said, it's like he embracing it, like he's not capable, and he shouldn't be, he's not capable of predicting what is going to make me feel that way. Right. And it's not his responsibility to. Yeah. But whenever you get to the point that you're able to start recognizing it in yourself, then you can prevent it. And like you can see it coming on and be like, okay, this reaction I'm about to have is not, it's not real. It's not realistic for this moment. It's not authentic. It's trauma. Yeah. It's a trauma informed reaction. And once you start getting better about it, and you're better about identifying it and talking it through with your partner, it just gets easier to stop it in its tracks. So yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. The right person will embrace the things you once felt you had to hide.
I think that's really, really true on like personal interests and things like that you're like, oh, I always felt this part was like quirky about me, that like you said, other people maybe belittled or something like that they love, like they're just as interested in as much as you, or at least they love that you're interested in it, you know, where that is so like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it just lights you up, you know what I'm saying? And freeing in a way.
Yeah.
So I have a list of how to tell if you're dating a selfish lover.
Ooh.
Do you want to go down it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
First one is, it's all about his schedule, or her. We can replace his with her at any point, but it's all about his or her schedule. It's all about him or her in the bedroom.
Ooh.
He or she doesn't ask about your day. You find yourself mostly doing the things that he or she wants to do. The relationship progresses based on his or her readiness. Your needs are belittled and or dismissed.
Do y'all like read through that list and think of somebody that you know?
Yeah. Not
like the person that you're in a relationship with, but somebody else that you know who is in a relationship and behaves those ways. Yeah. Same.
Yeah. Of friendships.
Yeah. Friendships too, for sure.
Several friendships. No, most of those is like, I can think of other friendships, which is so funny to me because actually all of the like guy relationships that I've had have actually been pretty good. I've dated a lot of really good guys.
I have not.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Cord's great.
But I've had a lot of girl friendships or a lot of crappy girls who have been my friends, and they remind me of a lot of this stuff.
No, I definitely had somebody in mind when you were reading that list.
It's sad because when you were reading those off, I was mostly thinking of like girl relationships.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same.
And I mean, it does, I think a lot of this, it's a thin line between this being dating advice and this just being normal human relationship advice.
Oh, yeah.
So that for sure can be applied universally to even family relationships too, not just friends.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. wait 3 days before calling. Oof. Outdated.
Yeah.
Oh, that was one of mine
Pursue
too.
them.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was specifically on a BuzzFeed article that they were saying like outdated dating advice.
Yeah.
And that was
Nope.
one of them. Wait 3 days.
Girls
Yeah.
call the boy, boy call the girls.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, what's the big deal?
What's the big deal?
Like if somebody's really, and this is a lot of, we'll kind of merge here for a second, because a lot of what I wrote down is basically talking about if the guy or the girl or whoever, if the person is not interested in you, you'll be confused. If you don't know that they're, like, you're not confident that they're interested, they're not interested.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at my notes right now, and I wrote this in bold, but it says take mixed signals as a no.
Yes.
So
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
and that goes into
100%.
like if you, like, not to like throw cord out there or anything, but like whenever we went on a first date, like are you okay?
Yeah.
When we went on a first date, like whenever I got home, I think he probably texted me when he got back home. Like, and to me that's just, there's no room for being confused or questioning where
Yes.
his intentions are. And I think for some people that may be overdoing it.
Yeah.
But whenever it's somebody that you're interested in and they're interested in you and you're having those conversations and it's like upfront, you know exactly what's happening. The signals are super freaking clear.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's hot.
It's like almost, it's like they are already your person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Before it's official.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they're so interested and they just care to, they like,
They're all in.
if they're thinking about you, they're talking to you,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing.
Mhm.
Especially in the
Yeah.
beginning.
Especially
In the beginning, it
sweet.
should be like 24/7 all over
Yeah.
chatting and seeing each other and stuff. And
Yeah.
if it's not like that, then they're not into you.
That's magic.
Yeah.
And you deserve better. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like
Yeah.
a sorry babe, he's not into you kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's a no, you deserve better. You deserve somebody who's going to make you feel
Mhm.
beyond a shadow of a doubt like they're
Mhm.
interested in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
And
shouldn't
that's-
have to fight for their attention.
Yeah. Across a lot of platforms, that was a regularly stated fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think waiting 3 days to call or however many days, if you don't get her, somebody else will.
That's what I love about the He's Just Not That Into You.
Mm-hmm.
I've never read the book, but I've seen the movie.
movie's great.
The movie is great. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's exactly that concept where it's like, if you don't know for sure, like women especially tend to go in this whole circle. Men do it too, but
Yeah.
women especially tend to go in this whole circle of like, well, he said this, and they're like micro analyzing everything, but he didn't say this, and then he didn't text me then. And it's like, if you have to go through all that, he's not into you. He's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. And honestly, it's like if you
And
have to
vice
go
versa.
through all of, if you're having to go through all of that, it's like
It should flow.
it should be so easy. It
Yeah.
should be easy.
Yeah. The beginning should be super easy. Relationships are not easy,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like the beginning should be so exciting and so like
So
you guys
natural,
are on the
yeah.
same page and it's natural and
The
not to
work-
say that there haven't been really good relationships that have started out weird and rocky. That
Yeah.
absolutely happens, but that's like the rare exception.
Well, and it's not to say also that relationships that start really easy and natural are going to last forever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, but it's like that's kind of the biggest green flag that you can get is
Mhm.
that somebody is very straightforward about how they feel about you and being
Mhm.
interested in you. Like if they're interested in you, you're just not going to you're not going to have to question it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Straightforwardness is hot.
If you are listening to this podcast right now because you are curious as to whether or not he's into you, he's not into you.
He's not into you.
He's not into you, baby.
He's just
Mm-mm.
not that into you.
Yeah.
It's not that he's intimidated by you. It's not that he got in a car accident and he hasn't texted you. He's just not
Yeah.
that into you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
It's
know what?
okay.
You deserve better.
You deserve better.
You do.
Yeah. Get yourself somebody who's going to let you know every second that
Mhm.
they're into you.
Mhm.
I have a friend though that she was the rare exception.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, like all during college, her now husband, he would like keep like putting her off and be like, no, I don't want to like date right now, and blah blah blah. And she was like sitting there basically waiting for him. She was like, what the frick, dude?
Mhm.
What's wrong with you? Like, I know that like we are perfect for each other.
Yeah.
And then he got out of college and he was like, yeah, that was really stupid. And they're like, yeah,
Yeah, that's so sweet. No, I do think that there are exceptions, and I
Yeah.
think there's always exceptions to the rules. But I do think that it's just a good rule of thumb. And based on that, like if he's telling her, if he's giving her a reason of like, oh, I'm focused on studies right now, or, and that seems
It wasn't even that. He was just being dumb.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah, he
Well,
was
I
being
think
dumb.
if they're giving you like, oh, you know what, like this is a boundary I've set for myself, and they're genuine in that, and they want to maintain a friendship or something, like you get to make that choice for yourself. But
yeah.
if they're just like, if they're saying they're too busy for you, or
Right.
you know, the word busy, oh, I'm
Yeah.
too busy, or
Yeah.
I feel like they're too busy, but not for certain activities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there's other ways that they let you know. So it's not just like it's, you know, there's other ways they let you know.
Oh yeah. And I want to end that with one more thing. It is so rare that you should assume that is not the situation.
Yeah.
You should 100% assume that is not the situation, because I know that a lot of girls, myself included, whenever I was not married, I would be like, oh, but I could be the rare exception. No. Assume that you are not the rare exception.
Yeah.
Okay. And move on.
Yeah.
Assume.
Yeah.
Because if it's 1 in 100, the likelihood of you being the one is very, very slim.
Okay, mine is a little bit, but I thought it was really interesting. It's called the 80-20 rule. And I think we've all heard of the 80-20 rule in different concepts.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
I
Like-
can't say that I have.
Okay, so the 80-20 rule, I think, originated in terms of like a productivity business concept,
Yeah.
where it was like 80% of the work that you do produces 20% of the results. 20% of the work that you do produces 80% of the results.
Oh, okay.
So that's the 80-20 rule. Somebody applied it to dating. And I was like, oh,
Okay.
this is interesting. And here's what they said. This is from Poosh as well. Your relationship equation should follow the 80-20 rule. It's a theory that says in a healthy relationship, you should be getting approximately 80% of the qualities that you want in a partner. That is, your partner is giving you 80% of what you desire in a relationship, and 80% of the time you are happy, satisfied, and fulfilled. Conversely, 20% of the time you find yourself annoyed, uninterested, and turned off, and that's okay. And in regards to that 20%, trust me, the next partner you will meet will also come with 20% of him or her that will drive you nuts too. It doesn't matter how the math adds up if you feel nothing for your partner. However, if at one time you did feel immense attraction, I believe you can get it back where you started as a couple by focusing on the 80% of your relationship that is wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. That's
I
really
agree.
good. Yeah,
That
I
is
think
good.
you got to focus on the good stuff.
Yeah.
You do. If you focus on the bad, it's just gonna go downhill.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear these though, I know that there are couples out there that they're like, we don't fight.
We don't fight.
We don't fight.
Oh, we fight.
I mean, that's fine.
I wouldn't say I like fighting. I don't, but I will say that I don't mind it. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't.
I'm like you. I don't look for fights,
Yeah.
but if it were to happen, like I know it would be okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I see it. Is literally the way that I see fighting is like, okay, something went wrong, and now we are passionately communicating with each other.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that's why it doesn't bother me, as I'm just kind of like, yes, it can cross, as long as it doesn't cross into a disrespectful, as soon as something crosses into a disrespectful territory where you're just putting the other person down, that's when you shut it down.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. You can passionately.
It's no longer a conversation at that point.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're not-
I like that passionate conversation.
Yeah. At least that's how it is for me, because I'm definitely the one to raise my voice before Sam does, but I'm also like a fiery, very passionate person.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that go into it for us. We've been long distance a lot of the relationship, and I think whenever you're long distance, you totally have to be like extra communicative, and so the communication that you do have is really like purposeful and and thought out and stuff like that. We do have disagreements, and we'll have moments where we feel a little badly about the way something happened, or we just feel uncomfortable or something, or we do, one of us is having a bad day and we just don't react to something right.
Oh,
but it's like, we don't bicker. I think bickering is a big thing, that we don't bicker with one another.
Bickering is annoying.
Yeah.
Bickering is
I feel like it's
annoying.
childish.
It is It is. But
It's like on the brink of a fight, but it's like
It's just passive aggression.
it is.
It's
It's
unsatisfying.
Yeah.
Picking.
It's like, ew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like either I'm talking or I'm fighting. I'm not bickering.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I want to let you know that there's something wrong or that you're annoying me, but I don't want to talk about it because I'm not an adult.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But no, we just, as far as like full blown fights, we've never had one.
Yeah.
We just haven't. And that's not to say that it won't happen. I'd be naive to say it wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to make the point of saying, because I think a lot of people will tell you, oh, if you don't fight, it's not a good relationship.
I
Or
know. I get
if
told
you
that.
if you fight all the time, it's not a good relationship. And that's not true. People just communicate
Yeah.
differently with
Yeah.
one another.
I
Every
think if
couple's
you
so
have
different.
Yeah.
passionate personalities, which is how Sam and I are, not that
Mhm.
we fight every day. I think we
Yeah.
went through like maybe a couple years or so in our marriage where we did fight almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
But it was never like a fight where we like it felt like anything was on the line,
It
or
was
that
not
we were
like an end all
hurting
be all.
each other or anything like that. It was just kind of like, we're really trying to see eye to eye on this, and
Mhm.
like I feel really strongly this way and you feel really strongly this way, and we're just like trying to, that's the difference, is that there's a difference between like fighting against each other and fighting towards each other,
Yeah.
whether
Yeah,
it's
that's a great
passionate
point.
or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I felt like most of the time, 98% of the time, we were fighting towards each other.
Yeah.
But we've had a couple of like explosive fights,
Yeah.
like really bad.
Yeah.
But
And it's a lot of it's personality. Like
Yeah.
Cord and I are so freaking accommodating. Like we
That's
are
so
we are
sweet. I
very
love
much
that.
the kind of people that will bend over backwards to like
Yeah.
make sure. I mean, we just are.
Yeah.
But then also, I think we're very, very similar people. Like
Mm.
we down to the bone. His family even jokes about whenever we're around each other, whenever I'm hanging out with his family and I say something, they're like, "Oh my God, you're just like him." Like I'll say things that make them think, you know, "Oh my, is he in the room?"
Yeah.
We're both like serious smart asses.
Sam and
Yeah.
I are both, we both get kind of prideful.
Like I can be that way.
I
Yeah.
can too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all can.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think some of the best advice I've gotten on fighting in prenatal counseling was, he said, you're not fighting against each other, you're fighting for each other,
Mm-hmm.
because you're trying to work toward understanding each other better, and just think about it as you're not against each other, you're
Yes.
for each other. So if you have that mindset,
Yes.
you're going to see eye to eye eventually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You just might
even
have
if it
to-
takes years.
Yeah.
That's the
Mhm.
thing. Like Sam and I have been married for this long, 8 years, and there have been issues where it's like literally like not until the past year or so have we started to be like, oh, okay, I understand that now.
Yeah.
You know, like I get your perspective and everything like that. And
Yeah.
we've tried to see each other on it for years. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's just the issues get so complicated because trauma is complicated and stuff like that, that it just takes time for you guys to fully understand each
Yeah.
other.
And you've got to be willing to work for that and fight for that.
Exactly.
The next one that I have from Instagram is a really good one. It says, "Once can be a mistake, twice is always on purpose. Stop giving people chances when they aren't willing to correct their behaviors."
Cheating, yes. I don't know about other things.
Yeah,
like
I
if
think
you
there's
were
levels to this.
Yeah, like I was talking about my defensiveness earlier, and I was definitely defensive more than twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I even tried to be self-aware of it, you know, and that's gets more complicated than, than
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I felt the same way. I mean, obviously this goes to like purposeful behaviors where somebody is like intentionally doing something that either disrespects, harms, or affects the other person.
yeah.
If it's something that they're not doing with intention, and it's still, it could be a behavior, but maybe you get more chances to identify and correct it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are not saying anything about it and you're just letting it slide, that's on you.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I mean,
Unless
if
they
it's-
cheated. That's on them.
if they're
always.
cheated.
Yeah. Always.
Yeah. Yeah.
No matter what the other person did.
Cheated or abuse. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So no, I agree. I think that is not something you can just blanket apply to everything. I think we all screw up, and something may happen one time, it may happen 20 times, and
Yeah.
you have the power to decide what you will put up with. I will say that. So
This one's ridiculous. Okay.
Okay.
Men are like bus stations, not limited to one woman. My
Oh,
dad.
that's disgusting.
Terrible advice and a terrible metaphor.
wait, they said their dad said that?
Uh-huh.
What? Bad dad.
Yeah.
Gross.
Men are like
God,
bus
Gary.
stations, not limited to one woman.
I mean, technically, you could say women are like bus stations too.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just a bad metaphor.
They're basically saying
Honestly.
that that's in their nature, and that's what they have the right to have multiple partners, because that's just who they are. Boys will be boys.
Oh,
What?
that line. Dang.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's horrible.
That's not even really advice. It's like
No.
a cop out.
Mm-hmm.
A cop out. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not advice.
Be mean to the girl. She'll think you're tough and love you.
Yeah,
so
solid.
true.
Really solid.
So true.
Solid.
Yeah.
That's really good
Court is like
advice.
constantly mean to me. It's the best.
Sam, like, he just yells at me all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
It's what makes you love him, right?
cusses at me, calls me a
calls
stupid
you
hoe.
names. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like karate kicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
So he's mean and dumb.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
Okay, I have one more funny one. If a girl plays hard to get, then she likes the shit out of you and wants you to chase her.
No, God.
Yep. That's it. If a girl's mean to you, it means she likes you.
100%.
Mhm.
Who gave us this advice?
Yeah.
Because
Bad.
they've just ruined so much.
Yeah. I want to know how their relationships are.
Yeah, seriously.
Probably non-existent.
That's like along the lines of like, if a girl says no,
She means yes.
she means yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's getting to the creepy part.
yeah, it's getting really creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. Thank you. Next.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of TikTok, segues. Here's a long one I thought was super good. Advice that said, stop meeting people and telling them what you do like, what you don't like about your past traumas, your past relationships, how bad people have treated you, because what you are doing is you are giving them a blueprint on how to manipulate you. They will do whatever you like, avoid whatever you don't like, or say whatever you like, avoid whatever you don't like to avoid looking like a red flag. And you're basically saying, look how low the bar is. I'm willing to accept all of this behavior. Allow people to show you who they are before you tell them how to be or tell them what you want. You don't want to give out your romantic resume too quickly. And if people do ask you about your past relationships, just say, I learned a lot of lessons and they just didn't work out.
That's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
Honestly, my first thought on that is that you need to just become a better read of character.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that you should have to be so closed off, and you should learn how to tell the difference between somebody being genuine and somebody just putting up a front.
Yeah. I think part of it too was just like what I read into it was by telling people, oh, it could just be something as silly as like, oh, I really don't like The Office, or I don't like Chipotle. And then this person, it makes me think of like How I Met Your Mother, whenever Ted is super serious about olives.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you know, I love olives. If the person doesn't like olives, that's a huge deal, or blah, blah, blah. And it's like these conversations. Yeah. Right. So it's like, maybe if the person that you're dating or that you're spending time with is saying like, oh, I don't like these things, or I do like these things, and you as a person may like something they don't like, but you're going to withhold that information because you feel like if you were to tell them that you do enjoy that's going to be automatically an issue. So at that point, are you lying by omission? It is a little bit of a manipulation to an extent, but that is kind of just how conversations go.
But then if you feel like that person is going to use that as a tool, isn't that a red flag? Like, shouldn't you just like be like,
But I think we're all guilty of that, though, on like the most base level where it's not toxic behavior. I think there is toxic behavior that can play into this particular level of advice. But if what you want is like really genuine, but then there's a lot of people who like, I'm the kind of person, if you tell me that you don't like The Office, I'm like, oh, I didn't like it at first, but I really enjoy it actually. Like, I'm willing to admit to that, but there's a lot of people who are afraid of having a contrary opinion.
yeah.
And I think that's kind of what they're talking about, is that if you are all you're doing is you're talking about what you do like, what you don't like, you're basically giving them what they need.
Then what are you supposed to talk about?
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Can't talk about like what happened to you. Can't talk about what you do like or don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think that what's hard for me on this is that it's like, stop meeting people and telling them what you do like, what you don't like about your past traumas, your past relationships, and how bad people have treated you. I think you do need to be more limited on who you tell the like rough stuff too. But yeah, you can talk about what you like and you don't like.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're talking like, oh, I don't like it when my partner, I don't know, does this or that, and it's more on like a relationship level that you're laying out your boundaries. I think boundary talk is important. but maybe instead of like giving them a blueprint of like, this is exactly what I want to see out of you. I think that can be,
that
you can avoid that.
That sounds like a person who needs to ask more questions.
Yeah.
Rather than
talking
like
so
I
much.
can think of a person that would be that person that they would just like share everything, what they do like, what they don't like wear every trauma on their sleeve and every like and dislike on their sleeve. And I think they need to pump the brakes. And in that situation, yes, you are putting yourself up for anybody to take that and do whatever they want with it. But
you need to control that a little bit.
I think the only way to combat that is just like, okay, if you're worried about these things being tools for manipulation, then just ask more questions.
Yeah.
Ask more questions rather than talk about yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and as you start to get more of a feel for their character not being in response to what you have said, but their character just from the questions that you have asked, then you can get a better read on their character, and then you can decide what you want to share with them. And
and I mean, there is a line in here that says allow people to show you who they are before you tell them how to be or tell them what it is you want. So I think that's kind of like what you're talking about is that pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah. If you're, I think that kind of like goes with like if you're a person that tends to overshare.
Yeah. And a lot of people are. I mean, the social media age, people just feel like they can share everything.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's like, it's on the other person to protect what you're sharing.
Yeah.
And nobody is responsible for that except for you.
Yeah.
So protect yourself. I think that's ideally what this all boils down to. I wanted to share that one because reading it, I was like, this is kind of complicated. I have different feelings about this.
Yeah. I just don't, I wanted to be wary with that one because it was like, I don't think you should treat every person like they're going to use your experiences and likes and dislikes as tools for manipulation.
Yeah. I'll give one more from TikTok. Why not? If you wouldn't genuinely want to be friends with a dude, he's not for you. You're not liking him. You're liking his attention.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, we've talked about how the physical stuff and all of that's just a part of it, but it's not primary. Primary to me is friendship in a relationship.
Yeah. There's a difference between liking the person and liking the thought of the relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, and liking their attention, like the person pointed out, for sure.
And I think men and women are equally as guilty.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like they'll just kind of egg someone on just enough to like keep them interested and keep the attention going, but they're not like they don't want anything more from that.
It plays into that whole idea that like men and women can't be friends too.
Yeah.
In a way, because
really
it's
sad.
like, but if you're in a relationship, you should be friends with that person. And like being friends is okay.
Yeah.
And just being friends is okay. Like men and women can be friends, and you can be friends with the person you're dating.
Yes.
It can be that sometimes you hang out and it's like hanging out with a friend, a platonic friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's so much fun.
It is fun.
It is
And
fun.
feeling comfortable with them in that way.
Yeah.
And not feeling like there has to be pressure for it to be something else every moment of every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
like
important
think
to be
about
friends.
like just like the comfort of like whenever you have had a sleepover with your girlfriends and you guys are just like you have deep conversations, you laugh about stupid stuff, you wake up in the next morning, you look like crap, you know. And it's like that type of feeling, that close comfort, but like with your partner, and it's like so that's magical.
It was after the Super Bowl. We bought the like Mountain Dew's coming out with all these crazy flavors.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw y'all.
There was, but they have like 50 milligrams of caffeine per can. It's like ridiculous. And we each had 2 that night. And we couldn't sleep. So we just like stayed up talking for really late. And it was on a Sunday night. We both had to work on Monday, but neither of us could sleep. And we were just having this conversation like, oh, man, I'd really like to be asleep right now. Like just talking about things that are, you know, just whatever. And it's just hanging out. And it was,
cute.
I mean, but we're like, we're never doing that again. We'll drink that Mountain Dew again. It was good, but we'll do it like a Friday night, not a Sunday night, because this is bad. I want to be asleep right now so bad. And it's just like being able to have those conversations and not like limit yourself to anything, because that's not a conversation that a boyfriend and girlfriend would have, or a husband and wife should have.
Yeah.
You should be able to have the easy conversations and poke fun at each other and just be what friends are.
Friendship is so important in marriage and any
relationship.
Yeah, relationship other than friendship.
Okay, so do y'all remember the red flag meme that was going around where like on Twitter people would post something and then they put a lot of the red flag emoji after?
Yeah.
So I thought it would be fun to collect a lot of those and just do like a rapid fire reaction to them, and we can say I'll read it and we can say red flag, green flag, and we can, if we want to discuss it, we can. Otherwise, we can move on.
I'm just gonna hold my microphone like this for a while because I want to lean back.
Okay.
I know.
Red flags or green flags. If they put pineapple on their pizza.
Neutral.
Neutral.
What do you think?
I love pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, for me it would be a green flag because I enjoy pineapple on pizza.
I'm like, pizza's pizza, guys. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Like, who cares if there's pineapple on it or not?
I enjoy pineapple. I think it's a good food. It's a good soup. Okay, so another one. If they're not into memes.
Red flag.
Red flag. I enjoy memes.
I mean, I don't see how somebody could not be into memes. Like,
Yeah.
I could see them being not into certain kinds of sense of humor memes.
Okay, so if they say that Shrek is not that good.
I could not care less about that.
I'm the same. I'm like, whatever, neutral. Okay, this may be something that more resonates with me. I'm not sure, but if they say that The Sopranos isn't the greatest show of all time. Have y'all watched The Sopranos?
I don't have any
Nope.
idea
No?
what
Okay,
that
I thought
is.
that was a me thing. It would not be a red flag for me because
Not a
obviously
red
people
flag.
can, just insert whatever show. Your favorite show isn't the greatest show of all time. To me, that's...
Okay, if The Office is not the greatest show of all time, or at least up there, red flag.
Yeah.
I hate The Office.
But
That's okay, I would still love you.
insert your favorite show of all
Yeah,
time
insert your
into
favorite
that.
show.
And if they say that that is not the greatest show of all time, would that
New
be
Girl?
a New Girl? So if somebody says New Girl is not the greatest show of all time.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We have
Neutral.
our own opinions.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I agree too.
If they say
not
that they
watched it.
hate The Office, that's hard for me. That's hard for
Okay.
me, Katie.
Okay.
Sorry.
But if they say that
I'm
The
so
Bachelor...
sorry.
However, it's okay because I'm not a big fan of New Girl.
Yeah.
Okay, see.
So we still love each other.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not a red flag.
Brown flag.
Yeah. Brown flag?
Because
Neutral.
green and red make brown. So
Brown.
Or you could
It's
use the
brown.
color gray that is regularly used for neutrality. Brown flag
That's
makes
not
me
as
think of
funny.
something else.
Poo poo.
Poo poo. Poop. It does makes me think of poopy.
pee pee poo poo.
Pee poo poo check. Okay. All right. Okay. If they say
Buttholes.
That just had to get in there.
if they say, "Can I get that steak well done?"
Ew.
Yeah. Red flag.
Red flag.
I'm a steak well done girl.
No, Katie.
Medium rare. Medium rare.
I just peeked my microphone with that.
No, you've got
I
to
know.
do
You
medium
need,
well.
I think
a
you
medium
need
rare.
like a really good steak.
I usually say medium well.
medium.
That's better.
It's better, but it's not.
I don't say well done. I
Is
say
like
well done on my burgers.
Oh yeah. Well, that makes sense because I do that
Medium
too.
well on my steak.
Because that's
ground meat is scarier.
yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot more bacteria stuff that
It's
can
all
happen
mixed
there.
in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If they ask who is Bella Swan,
Who is Bella Swan?
Green flag.
green flag,
Green
Twilight.
flag. Twilight. Yeah.
the
Green
girl in
flag.
Twilight. You don't know?
Yeah, okay. I know now.
Green flag.
Green
Yeah.
flag,
I'm like,
Katie.
I don't care.
Good job.
I don't care if you know who that is. If they say, "I can better explain over the phone," are you free sometime today for a quick call?
Ew.
Okay.
I
So
don't mind it.
I have mixed feelings about that.
Yeah.
And this is something that came about kind of recently, actually. Sometimes that is the most productive thing that you can do. It's like,
Yes.
let me just get a call. Let me just get in a call with you. It's way too much to explain over text.
Yes.
Let me just get in a call with you really quick, and then it'll be way more productive and better use of both of our times. However, there's the other side of that where there are people that are just lazy and they just will not type it out. My brother is one of them. I'm like, you could have texted me this and it would have been so much faster, but instead you had to call me, ask me how I was, have a whole conversation about your kid, everything in between. And I'm like, we could have
This could have been an email.
a 1 minute text it could have been 1 minute and it turned into 30 to 45 minutes. And I'm like, why? No. It's so
Yeah.
annoying. And
Yeah.
there are people that do it just because they're lazy. They don't want to pick up their phone and write out a text.
In a relationship, though, dating.
in a relationship,
I don't mind it. I'm like, I should not be afraid of having a conversation on the phone with you.
Scary.
Like, you don't want to talk on the phone with Bryce?
Like, oh, well.
Yeah, this is about dating. Yeah.
I mean,
I forgot that this was about dating for a second.
Yeah. if it's somebody I'm in a relationship with or somebody that I'm dating and they're like, why don't we have a phone call? I'm like, yeah. To me, that's actually a green
They
flag.
can call me whenever the heck they want to.
Yeah, to me, that's a green flag because it's like they're willing to dedicate time and be on the phone with me versus just texting something
green
else.
flag.
It's a green flag if they're not like, hey, we need to talk. Can I call you?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
But
we need to talk is a
That's
I think that's a universal red flag, even if it may
Yes.
not end up being bad. Like, I think
if
everybody
they're
reacts
just like,
to it the
hey,
same way.
you want to talk on the phone later? Green flag all
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
And I just try to not do that to people at all. Like, if I need to talk to them about something, I'm not going to like send them a text and be like, we need to talk.
Yeah, you say,
and
I
they
have
just
a quick
get
question
to, and
about
they
this.
just like have to hang on that for the rest of until you guys talk, you know. I'll like bring it up whenever it's time to bring it up, unless I need to arrange a time. This happened recently. I had to arrange a time with somebody to have a difficult conversation, and they asked me. It was kind of out of the blue for me to like reach out to them and be like, hey, can we meet up? And I needed to say, can we meet up and talk in private? Because I needed to make sure that nobody else was around. And I know how that came across, and I didn't want it to. And then she was like, is everything okay? And I was like, I don't know. And I wanted to say, like, it depends on how the conversation goes. But then I was like, I'm not going to say that because then that's just going to make it worse. So I was just kind of like, I don't know. And that way she can wonder whether it's not about her, you know, that it could just be something that I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
But I had to arrange a time with her, you know what I'm saying? So
I think sometimes it's maybe the way you phrase it. You could say something like, I would really like to talk through something with you, or like that way it's more like, I need you to be my sounding board, and it doesn't immediately make them think, oh, I've done something wrong.
yeah,
So yeah, for sure.
there's probably a better way I could have phrased that, but I
But
do
we all
try
do it.
to.
We all do it though. We all do. And it's you sometimes you can't control the perception of somebody.
Yeah.
You can't. So okay, how about if they have an Android?
Sam has an Android.
I have an Android.
And whenever we first got married, I believe I had an Android. Maybe I had an iPhone. No, I had an iPhone.
I've had both. I prefer Android, but yeah, it's not.
Yeah, I've had both. I prefer iPhone.
Honestly, it would be kind of a
Green
green
flag.
It would be.
I don't care.
It would be a green flag for me, just because it's easier to communicate with somebody who has the same phone, like the same operating system as you do.
Yeah.
If they say I'm cool with all of my exes, I'm honestly kind of neutral on this one.
That's a little bit of a red flag for me.
Honestly,
It depends on the context of how it's said.
well, I'm kind of cool with my ex. So,
I'm neutral mainly because I think if it's done in a way that it's like, I respect these people, I don't want there to be bad blood. Like, if we saw each other, we'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
If it's like, I'm cool with my exes, as in I regularly spend time with them one-on-one still,
yeah, and
that's
like texting.
different. Yeah, I think the context is so important on that one. But
Yeah.
depending on it, I could go either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm more red than green.
Yeah. I'm
not
red.
neutral, but I'm more red than green.
I'm more red than green too, because I'm like, but I'm also like, I'm probably a little bit of a red flag on the other end, in the sense of I'm not friends with any of my exes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not that I'm like not cool with them. I just don't feel comfortable being friends with somebody that I had romantic feelings for in the past.
Yeah.
It's just like, I could have a very surface level, like we can be acquaintances type of situation, but I would not be comfortable being full on friends with somebody I had romantic feelings for.
I think it's important that they said that it's I'm cool with all of my exes, not I'm friends with all of my exes.
Yeah.
Because if they said I'm friends with them, like, so you actively hang out, you actively see them, what does that mean? What does
Okay,
friendship
well,
look like?
then technically I'm cool with all of my exes, I would guess.
Yeah.
I think I am too. I mean, there are definitely some that I would try to avoid, but if I saw them, I'd be able to keep my cool and just move on.
I would much rather I'm cool with all of my exes is much more of a green flag than all of my exes are crazy. That's a red flag.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yes. I agree.
Because then you're like, there's one common denominator
So
there.
you can't take ownership over any of your issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they say that they hate mangoes, I have to remind y'all that these are things that people wrote on the internet with red flags. Like, that's a deal breaker for them that somebody says they hate mangoes.
That's
That's
crazy.
so-
That's a little
That's so dumb.
aggressive.
I love mangoes, but if somebody doesn't like them, then I'm like, okay, cool, you do you.
Yeah.
If they say that the movie was way better than the book, for me, that's kind of a red flag. It depends
I
on
think it depends
what they're
on the
talking about,
movie.
but 9 times out of 10, they're going to be wrong.
Yeah.
me.
I agree.
Yeah, most of the time, they're going to be wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
That's
like to
a-
be with somebody who really enjoys reading.
I'm
that-
kind
Yeah.
of
that's
neutral
important
on
to me.
this because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I would say I teeter on the red. I'm like, that doesn't sound like you have very good taste.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm like, oh, how much do you read? I want to be with somebody who reads.
Mm-hmm.
If they're a slow texter, but they're always on social media, it's a kind of
Red flag.
Red flag.
Yeah, red
I don't
flag.
like that.
Yeah.
It's
that's
priorities. I'm like, eh.
I don't like that energy.
Okay, here's this. If a girl says, I only have male friends because it's less drama.
Weird. Ew. Red
red
flag.
Red
Red
flag.
flag.
Red friggin' flag.
Yeah.
I know someone who
I
was
ha-
like that.
I have been guilty of saying this.
I have been guilty of saying that as
I
well.
wasn't talking about you.
I know, but I'm admitting that I have said this before.
Same.
In my young years. And
I've thought it before, for sure.
yeah, I think if you're not able to have girlfriends, there's a problem.
That's the misogyny in us.
Yeah.
I really think it is. I think it's
It
like
is.
one of those things where it's like,
You can't identify with women
Like-
because they're too dramatic.
yeah, exactly. Like I cannot associate myself with my own gender because I need to live up to a male standard
Yeah.
and what male values are, and that's just like gross.
Yeah, for sure. The last one is dating any guy whose name begins with an A through Z. So any letter of the alphabet. Red flag.
Red flag.
Red
All men are red flags.
freaking flag.
I thought that one was really
That's
funny.
funny.
Yeah.
I like that. That's
great.
just a playful one, guys.
All right. Well, we've kind of done our internet dating advice.
Okay.
What kind of dating advice would you impart personally?
Mine would be don't have the important conversations over text.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Because those are holy moments that you need to
Yeah.
have in person.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
They're deep connection opportunities.
Yeah.
And I just think there's a lot of room for miscommunication. And yeah, it can become awkward to have those conversations in person if you get used to having them over text. It's
Yeah.
so important, especially in like long distance relationships.
Yeah, we've
Mhm.
To
yeah.
just have those conversations, just save it. Just have those conversations in person and or over the phone at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
So they can like hear the tone of voice and the
Mhm.
emotion,
Mm-hmm.
not just words on a screen,
yeah.
not just like a whole spiel of
Yeah.
Yeah.
what you're feeling.
Yeah.
And
And it's like, I think it's so much harder to be that vulnerable,
Mhm.
whenever you're doing it over the phone and especially in person,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but over text, it's easier to kind of
Oh.
like, it's just like how
I've
people
said-
overshare on social media because
Yeah.
it's so easy.
Yeah.
I've said things over text that I would have never had the guts to say it in person.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we've all experienced that
Yeah.
to some
Mhm.
extent, but
I think
Yeah.
especially having been in a long distance relationship that there are times when you literally have no other choice, but you shouldn't make a
Right.
habit of it.
yeah.
And even just talking about this, it makes me think of like everything that is worth it is hard.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is that despite the fact that we brought out all of this, this advice and we kind of gave our opinions on it and our experiences on it and stuff, whenever it comes down to the right person, there are no rules. Like
That's good.
I think it's got to be easy. It's got to be natural, and you have to find your own groove together.
Mhm.
But you don't have to follow everybody else's blueprint and everybody else's rules. Like if they say, oh, wait 3 days, maybe they do wait 3 days and that
Mhm.
works for you. Maybe they don't and that works for you. So whenever you meet the right person, you don't like just follow the natural flow of it. You don't have to follow any sort of set of guidelines or like hold so fast to something that it would end up being a detriment to your relationship because somebody told you that that's the best way to manage
Mhm.
things.
Mhm.
Whenever you're in the relationship with the right person, it's the best thing that you can do is figure out what your natural flow is,
Yeah.
figure out what your
Yeah.
boundaries are, figure out how to communicate with one another, because it's going to be so like me and Corey communicating is going to be different than Katie and Bryce or you and Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to find your own natural rhythm with it. And
Yes.
you do not have to hold fast and hard and strong to any of the dating advice that you've ever heard before,
Yeah.
especially if it doesn't seem to fit where you're at.
So this is something that I learned from my therapist, actually, but I think it was so powerful because I was telling him about a story between an ex-friend of mine and her now ex-husband. They were terrible at communicating. Like there were times where I told her, I was like, literally everything that you're telling me, exactly how you're saying it, you need to tell him.
Yeah.
You know, and that stupid crap that was going on all the time. And the one time she did, guess what? It went over great. And he was like, I'd never thought about it that way. And I'm like, if you guys would just freaking tell each other what you actually think, then you could get somewhere. Okay. But anyways, I was telling my therapist that story and he was like, it's actually not about communication. And I was like, what? I was like, everything that I've learned about relationships is all about communication.
Yes.
You know? And he was like, it's not about communication. It's about letting the other person tell their story.
Ooh, I love that.
And I was like,
yes. Yes.
Because, and whenever you think about it, it is really that. It's not just about you guys working through an issue or whatever. It's about one situation can happen and there can be 3 different stories that we have about that one situation because of our lens that we live life through, right?
Yeah.
And how we experience life. And so whenever you wholly let that person tell their story and their experience and you try to remove yourself as a personal attack, you're just letting them tell it how they lived it. You know, the way that they saw the situation is so immensely valuable.
Yes.
For you to be able to say, this is how this experience played out for me. Right or wrong, true or not, this is how it was for me and what I felt and experienced through it. And then letting them tell their story through that same situation and you guys can come together in that.
Yeah.
I was like, that is so beautiful.
Yeah.
And has been so powerful for us. And just like, we don't have to come to an agreement on how this situation played out. We just have to fully see and hear each other.
Yeah. I love that he pointed that out because it is at the heart of it. That is what makes communication and healthy communication so important.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I love
And
that.
well, but I think also the other angle of that is that letting the person, like whenever you put it in the term of like just letting them tell their story, is that there doesn't always have to be like this response, like this big response to it or this big thing. Sometimes it's just kind of like, I just need you to see me.
Yeah.
That's
I just
it.
need you to listen.
Yeah. I just need to know that you fully see and hear me.
Yeah.
You know, and I think both men and women need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just acknowledging their emotions and what they're going through and not necessarily being like a whole spiel of encouragement. Yeah, I mean, if I was going through a hard thing, like that might literally be all I need to hear is like, I see you and I know that like what you're going through is real and it's hard.
Yeah.
And
I'm here for you.
I'm here for you. Have your emotions.
Yep. Amen, sisters.
Amen.
sister friends. Yeah. What are y'all looking forward to this week?
I am looking forward to the weekend because this work week is going to be hella crazy. Yeah. Sam and I do this Sunday meetings where we just like sit down, we plan our whole week together, make sure we're both on the same page, we know what each other's doing, money we're going to spend, stuff like that. We go through the whole rigmarole. And I was looking at my schedule and I was like, I guess I'll see you this weekend. Like, I mean, we share an office, so we're going to see each other, but like, it's one of those weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the weekend because Sam and I also have a special little date night planned. It's going to be so much fun.
Fun.
So,
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the weekend too. My week is jam packed as well. I don't have a free night until Friday night, and the weekend is full of plans with people in town and a bridal shower, and I have an event that I planned on Sunday and blah, 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 blah. So yes. So I'm looking forward to Friday night really is what I'm saying.
That's cool.
No plans Friday night. After that, it's busy again.
Love it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to going to church this Sunday. We're going to go to our old church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's nice. So it's going to be fun.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us again for this week's episode of the Womanly Podcast. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media to hang out with us in between episodes and see pieces of our conversations that we don't get to include in these episodes, plus all of our bloopery humanness. We're on Instagram at Womanly Pod and TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter at Womanly Podcast. We hope to hang out with you more there. Have a super womanly week.